It's always frustrating when a debate descends to the depths of semantics. Whenever that happens, you're not really examining the facts or a line of reasoning. You're trying to make the facts or a line of reasoning suit your purposes by altering the meanings of the words used within them. But we all do it. I'm guilty of doing it sometimes. But A leads to B, which leads to C, even if you sub in X, Y, and Z to mean the same thing. But it's 2016, and words hurt. So semantics are at a premium, and many words used in public reporting are inherently racist, sexist, or otherwise oppressive. And that's frustrating because our fixation with the irrelevant nuances in the meanings of words distracts us from gathering and analyzing the facts. But what's frustrating further is when those whining the loudest about inappropriate word usage seem to have no understanding of the meaning of words themselves. This week's example, hashtag Oregon under attack. Quick fact review. In Eastern Oregon several years back, two ranchers, Dwight and Stephen Hammond, set a fire to control invasive plant species and it got out of hand, burning about 130 acres of federal land. The father and son pair received arson convictions and have since served prison time and been released. A recent federal ruling decided those prison terms were not sufficient, that the pair needs to serve the federally mandated minimum of 5 years in prison, and so both ranchers have turned themselves in to face the remaining time of their sentences. Well, that doesn't sit very well with Ammon and Ryan Bundy, the sons of Cliven Bundy, who you may remember from a famous 2014 standoff in Nevada over a separate land dispute with the federal government. The brothers are leading a self-described militia group called Citizens for Constitutional Freedom. They protested the Hammonds' imprisonment on Saturday before occupying an unoccupied building on the Malheur Wildlife Refuge outside of Burns, Oregon. The group says they want the federal government to relinquish control of area land and return control of its resources to the people, as well as an easier sentence for the Hammond ranchers. They say they are prepared to stay in the building until their demands are satisfied. And that's the extent of the current story. But there's a word I didn't use that's got some people on the internet upset. Yes, now it's not just the words on the internet that can trigger people, but the absence of certain words can do it too. On Twitter, many people are complaining that media reports are not using the word terrorism to describe the ordeal. Remember, in the US, whether it's terrorism depends on the skin tone and religion of those doing the terrorizing. Does it? Or does it just depend on the definition of the word? Terrorism, noun, the use of violence and threats to intimidate or coerce, especially for political purposes. So we clearly have a political purpose in this case, I'll grant you that. Do we have violence or threats though? Here's what the group has to say. We have no intentions of using force upon anyone, but if force is used against us, we would defend ourselves. We're putting nobody in harm's way. We are not threatening anybody. We are 30 miles out of the closest town. There are no hostages, no children, and the occupiers say they're not even damaging federal property. But maybe we don't buy their words. Maybe we think they're lying about their intentions. But even if that's the case, public records show Ammon Bundy has no prior criminal history outside of a few traffic violations and speeding tickets. So I'm not buying the argument that they seek to use threats or violence in order to achieve their political goals. Unless you're willing to say that the mere fact that they have firearms makes them violent terrorists. Oh, you are willing to say that.
Not militia, not ranchers, not patriots, not protesters. Armed terrorists on domestic soil. That's what your guns make you.
So then I guess these guys are also terrorists?
What do you think, Trevor? It's a nice buck.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited.
Terrorist!
More than a dozen police officers from all over the country are training.
Terrorist!
Now all of you skunks clear out of here!
Terrorist!
By the way, not ranchers? How are they not ranchers? Rancher is one of the first words used to describe them in nearly every report because that is their livelihood. Fine, Steve, they're not ranchers.
But you're not a writer, not a comedian, not a political commentator, vocal moron on internet soil. That's what your dumb tweets make you.
So is it that news outlets aren't calling this group terrorists because they're white? Or are they not calling them terrorists because the stated intent and the actions of this group don't fit the definition of that word? Whatever, dude. Look, we all know the dictionary has a clear and long-standing racial bias. But that's why semantics are so frustrating. They distract from substance. Believe me, I'm in no way convinced this militia group is doing the right thing. But debating semantics doesn't even allow us to have that discussion, what the merits of their case are, and whether their methods are justified. Instead, we're having Twitter piss fights about who the the racist sacrificial lamb to the social justice warriors should be, because we all know finding out who is racist or sexist or otherwise oppressive in any given situation should always be priority number one. It's 2016, facts don't matter, who's racist does. Thanks as always for listening and for supporting this channel. Always appreciate the thoughtful discussion down below, and especially over on Twitter. That is @skag_3. You're always welcome to come hang out and chat with me in my live stream. That is linked in the description. Looking forward to it. Okay, bye.